Yeah.
You want to like them, but you can't.
Are you listening?
What?
Are you listening?
Did you bring me on this show to insult me?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Hey, y'all don't want it with us, man. We straight gangsters over here.
Straight
man.
gangsters.
Ah.
Yeah, good morning and welcome back. Once again, you are listening to Scout Team Radio. We bring it to you hot and live each and every morning, Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. I am one of your gracious hosts. They call me Loudbeard.
You are the most egotistical, self-deluded person I have ever
And all
met.
of that is true. And my co-host, the great, great patriot, he is... All right. Sorry about that. We're having a little technical difficulty here this morning. That's what we do. That's how we are, Scout Team Radio. That's what works out perfectly for us. So I'm going to go ahead and get started here. You know what? I just got to say, Fridays we usually do our fantasy draft. We haven't really done fantasy draft in a little while. And I'm excited about this week's fantasy draft. I probably over-prepared for it, and that's okay. Sometimes you got to over-prepare for something like this. But we're going to do a Florida Man draft, and we're going to draft our essential kit, basically a starter kit for becoming a Florida Man. And that is what we are prepared for on our draft today. So you are in for a special treat. We do the draft typically on the second half of the show, so stay tuned and make sure you listen up because we will be having a awesome Friday draft, and that is, I'm looking forward to it. I'm ready. Oh man, some of this stuff. When you're a Florida man, you carry around some pretty unique items to become the starter, to have a starter kit to be a Florida man. So definitely looking forward to that. Also on the show today, we've got some Warriors, Raptors talk, lots of interesting stuff going on there. Injury updates for some of the big stars that are getting ready for these Game 4, Game 5, Game 6. When's Durant going to be back? When's Klay Thompson going to be back? We'll talk about all that. Last night, that's right, hockey. Let's talk that hockey. Blues, man, Blues are looking good on some hot play from their goalie. And that is, my friends, a good thing because my kiss of death is still working. I went Bruins. I went Bruins because I wanted to test my kiss of death and see how well it works. And it looks like it's still living very strongly in the heads of everybody out there. And I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. You know, Blues, to me, a little bit, they were going into this not really they weren't really given the credit that they deserve because this is a good team. And to get it all the way to the Stanley Cup Finals, I mean, that's an achievement in itself, but it almost seemed like this was the Bruins' cup to win from the very beginning. And the Blues, they have not stood for that. And like I said, they had hot goalie play last night, and that is what's keeping them in this series. And they are now, Blues are leading this thing 3-2. So we'll talk a little bit about that. Big news for the Eagles. They have signed an extension for Carson Wentz. But is this a smart move for the Eagles? It's a big move, but is it a smart move? A guy that is oft injured, a guy that isn't the quarterback that won a Super Bowl for you, is he the one that you want to put all of your eggs into that one basket? It's a good question. When Chris America gets back on, we will dig deep into that. And lastly, we have a investor of the Warriors getting a little too involved in some game action. And I remember watching this live, a little shove on the side from a fan. Now, as all the details come out, I did not realize that so-called fan was actually a minority owner of the Golden State Warriors. And this, to me, takes it to a whole nother level. I get it if you're a drunk fan, and if you're sitting courtside, I mean, at the NBA Finals, apparently you'd be a rich drunk fan. And in this situation, when it's not just a fan, it's actually an owner of the team. This is just a bad look, man. This is absolutely a bad look for this guy. And Mark Stevens, minority owner of the Golden State Warriors, man, reaching over and pushing Kyle Lowry in the game. And from what Kyle Lowry is saying, he's saying that this guy was cursing him out too. So you're telling me you're a rich dude that owns the Golden State Warriors and you can't have any class on the sideline? Man, that's not right. That's not right. So I want to dig deeper into these topics. I'm working diligently to try to get Chris America back online. He is having some internet problems, some connectivity problems this morning. And I thought I was going to be the problem. Last night, I stayed up late, got to watch Craft Brewed Sports, and they had an amazing show last night. I just can't say it enough. Good friends of our show. Every once in a while, you hear us talking about getting tweets in from Scott Kaiser or Mike Berlon. They're the two hosts of Craft Brewed Sports. Comes on every Thursday night, 8:30. And last night, they were paying off a bet. We did a bet, and Scout Team Radio is right here in Orlando, the Central Florida area. So we like to support our own Orlando teams. So our Orlando City, that's right, I'm going to go soccer talk on you. Our Orlando City was going up against their Cincinnati FC club, and we put a friendly wager on it. And we didn't even come up with a bet. Like, we didn't even come up with what the punishment would be until the bet was over. And we came up with, we'll call it our frenemy punishment. And that was the Natter Days. We said to Craft Brewed Sports that they would have to be downing Natter Days during their show, and they're a craft brewed show. So craft beer and a natural light strawberry lemonade beer, that doesn't mix, right? Like, these guys love getting beer from just exotic different breweries. They've got Tavour, which is a mail order service that sends them just these really awesome micro brews from all around the country. So they're always talking about really great beer. And
you like
to go
those
to
mail order services, don't you?
Man, look at you. What have you been doing?
Man,
you do love...
look, this is what happened.
First of all you do is change two letters in the word mail. M-A-L-E order service.
Yes.
That's the one you go for.
No, that's
I go
the one
for
you
M-A-I-L.
No, don't even try it.
Anyway, these guys, they love craft beer, and we made them down some Natter Days last night, but it was all in good fun, and I really enjoyed that. So, Chris America, welcome. And you're complaining about me now. Let's
here's
hear
the
it.
thing.
Here's the thing. All right, let's hear it.
You're
okay,
sitting there, I hear your intro coming in, and I was ready to razz on you for being so low energy because of all those Natter Days that you did. Like, I could tell you pounded at least 4 Natter Days.
Well, I bought a 4-pack.
Yeah.
Funny story.
Nailed it.
Yep.
Nailed it.
There were 16 ounces. The problem, well, I've got a couple problems going on. I'm going to let you just be my therapist this morning. My one problem, I stopped at the store on my way home, picked up this 4-pack, and then I'm pulling into the neighborhood. When I turn into the neighborhood, the 4-pack, it's in a plastic bag, thankfully. It kind of tips on its side, and I don't know what happened, but like one of the cans got a puncture in it and starts spraying in the car. And I've got the smell of Natter Day in my car as it's spraying. Luckily, it's in the bag, so the bag's like catching most of it. And I'm sitting there like freaking out, like gassing it to pull into my driveway so I can pull it out so that it doesn't spray Natter Days all over the car. Well, unfortunately, I only got to drink 3 Natter Days because of that, because one of them ended up basically shotgunning itself. But I will say...
So really that little bit of extra sadness is that 4th Natter Day you didn't get to drink.
Yes, and 3 tall boys, though. They were tall boys. They're 16 ounces.
Yeah.
I'm not going little boys. I'm going tall boys. And
you do like
the other
tall
problem...
boys.
Yeah, the other problem, Chris America, is one of my my headphones are a little bit on the fritz, so I couldn't hear part of what was going on. So the soundboard part, I can't hear it. So I'm guessing when the intro is over based on how it's running. I can see it going, and I'm trying to follow it with my eyes, but not hearing it. I feel like I'm awkward coming into the intro. Like, I hope I'm doing this at the right time. And
I did
the
kind of
same
notice.
thing.
I did kind of notice that you had kind of interrupted like the end of your intro.
Yeah, because I have no idea. I can't hear it. And I and honestly, I'm going to go behind the scenes. So in my studio, I had the extra set of earbuds that I do that connect to the mixer. My daughter had taken them yesterday, so I didn't have them yesterday.
Dude,
so
you
same
need
thing
to
happened
like
yesterday.
you need to lock up the
And
studio.
so
Your
I
daughters
went and-
take your stuff all the time.
I know, they're terrible. So I went up and got it back from her last night. So this morning I'm going, and I wait till the absolute last minute to get
Yeah.
everything cranking because, it's early as hell, and that's what we do. And so I put them in, and I'm like, God damn, I got them back, and now they're broken. Like, she broke them. She borrowed them and broke them. So now all I can hear is you, but I can't hear my intro just the way our setup is. We got a kind of a wonky
Yeah,
setup. And so now I'm like, okay, I don't hear the intro. I play Chris America's intro, and then I don't hear him. I'm like, is it me? Is it you? Is it me? Is it you? Is it me? Is it you?
And you know
I'm
what?
like, oh crap! It's both of us.
It's funny too because listening to Craft Brewed Sports last night, they totally
They were-
called that this would happen.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That
You
when they
there?
did that, I
You
laughed
there?
my ass off, man. Hey, can you hear me? Can you hear
Well,
me
here's
now?
what happened. Here's what happened on my end. I hear your intro. I hear you talking, and I'm like, oh man, he's down. He definitely had a few natter days last night. I'm gonna
I
get
struggle
on him.
getting out of bed.
I'm gonna get on him about it. And then Craft Brewed Sports even talked about how you wouldn't even be on the show. And then as soon as my intro ended, I'm looking at the computer screen, getting ready to talk, and then the little thing that pops up and tells you you've lost connection to the internet service. Like we're trying to reconnect now. And I'm like, no, like why? So then I had to restart my router, and then my laptop wasn't picking up the router. So then I had to restart the laptop, and now I'm here.
Wow, we're classy, man. This is a professional morning talk radio show, and
This is the
I
best
hope all of our
well-run
listeners can
radio
appreciate
show.
that.
I honestly,
Woo!
even if we do make it big, I never want to not do this setup. I think
Yeah.
it makes the
Oh, I
show
love
that
it.
much better.
Can you hear me, Chris America? Can you?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
you-
Yeah.
you on the
We're
other
good. Is our internet work? Okay. Good. Yeah.
So Loudbear,
you know
I gotta
what?
say, I was
Mhm.
kind of disappointed with our punishment. You and Max Scout team made these natter days sound like they were just god awful beers. So I was like, oh, that'll be a great punishment for those guys. And then they were like pigs in slop, man. They were loving it, and I was like, damn it, I didn't get
Well,
it. But I
had never
think
tried
watching
one
your
at that
soccer
point.
team,
That's the problem.
I think watching your soccer team lose 5-1 after they went up 1-0 and you started talking trash on Twitter is punishment enough.
Oh yeah. He regretted that right away.
But you know
I
what?
do have to
Afterwards,
say the
I
Natter
even
Day.
thought about it too. Like the day of last night, I'm sitting there before the show starts. I'm like, maybe I can make them like do like Jaeger Natter Day bombs, and like they could drop some Jaeger in it, and that'll be their punishment.
That could have worked. That would have been really gross.
That probably
a
would have made
Jaeger
it
Natter
even
Day
better.
bomb.
Somehow that would have made it better.
They would have done it, and it would have became like a fad across the planet. Like, this is the greatest combination
Right.
ever. You've
And
been
then
like,
they would have made
damn
money
it,
off
worst
of it.
punishment ever. Yeah, yeah, it would have been pretty bad. So you did not get a chance to try a Natter Day last night. I heard a story
Yes.
that you went and all the convenience stores in the area are completely sold out of this. It's so hot right now.
Yeah, I went to the gym, and then on my way home from the gym, listening to those guys, I'm sitting there. I stop at 7-Eleven. No Natter Days. They have all the other natural lights and bushes. They had all the Budweiser flavored beers were there, and then I went to a racetrack. I was like, okay, this is a big racetrack. They're gonna have a wide selection of beer. No Natter Day. All right. Next up, Wawa. Went to the Wawa. Nothing. It was ridiculous.
Can I?
All
I'm
the
gonna
Bud
stop
Lights,
you
the
right
Bud
there.
Light Orange or Bud Light whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, go
They
ahead.
have it all. I'm gonna stop you right there. You know, I figured out what your problem was.
What's that?
You went to nice gas stations, Chris America.
That's true. That's true.
You go to the one that is like it says mobile, but like half the word is fallen off from a hurricane 3
Yeah.
years ago. But they never fixed it, but they're still open. You go
gotta
to
use-
that convenience store.
You gotta
because
spend at
that's
least-
the convenience store.
You got to spend at least $5 to $10 to use your debit card on their credit card machine.
Yes. and it's
And there's like a little
handwritten
handwritten sign. Yep.
on a napkin, and it's taped on with Scotch
It's
tape.
taped down.
Those are the convenience stores that have. You went into this wrong. You're like, oh, I'm gonna go to a Wawa, and it's this like $10 billion building that Wawas are putting up everywhere. That's like state of the art. You go up and you order your own sandwiches and all this crap. No. The convenience stores that carry Natural Light or Natter Days, they don't do that. They don't do that. Everything is old school convenience store. It smells when you walk in. It has the ding dong when you walk in, so that they know that you're there, so they can follow you around the whole store to make sure you're not like pocketing things. That's a convenience store you go to. And those are the ones that I picked up a 4-pack of Natty Lights or Natter Days at, and my 4-pack was awesome. Though I do think I was kind of set up with the one that blew up on me.
Yeah, they probably did set you up, Loudbeard. Or that's just the way Natter Days roll, man. Natter Days are so unpredictable. You never know what's going to happen on a Natter Day.
Yeah. Oh man. But the taste of a Natter, since you didn't try it, I gotta say, it is actually a very delicious beer.
Is it?
Yeah, I like craft brewed or craft beer. I like IPAs. I'm into those kind of things. But if this is like the perfect, like, let me go sit out at the pool and just chill and just throw back a nice refreshing beer. I mean, this is the beer of the summer right here. It's gonna take over, Chris America. You need to try yourself a Natter Day. I was making fun of it before I tried it. It's like a Natural Light that's mixed with strawberry lemonade. It sounds like the worst concoction ever.
Yeah, that's the way you made it sound like. I was like, okay, fine. I'm going to make that their punishment. That'd be awesome.
No, this
Little
is
did I know,
one of those. Yep,
Scotty Kaiser is like basically
diamond in the rough.
What is it called where you go around selling beer? Like a brand
A brand ambassador.
A brand ambassador. That's what it is.
That's what
He's
he
basically
is.
a
Scott
brand
Kaiser
ambassador
is.
for. I didn't know this. And then Joe, their producer, who's barely on, is like, we talked about this on one episode. I'm like, look here, guy, who's almost never on this show. Don't chastise me for missing an episode. So, Loudbeard, I heard you were talking that hockey a little bit before I disconnected to restart my computer.
Well, I was, but we got a tweet in here. Mike Berlon, he's checking in. He's making sure we're doing okay this morning. He says, don't call me Anthony Joshua. I actually answered the bell this morning. Checking in, fellas. Cheers, Scout Team Radio. Oh, good time. Good time. I'm glad you're up because I struggled getting up this morning, and we had technical difficulty, which is typical.
We were on the
that's
struggle
typical
bus this morning.
Yeah. You know what, though? We're going to get through this. We're going to get through this. Know how I'm going to get through it? I'm going to talk that hockey.
Talk that hockey, Loudbeard. You and Mike Verlon picked Boston. And for a little bit, Boston looked like they were going to win the series. And I thought, they still can. But I thought, man, the kiss of death is going to be gone from you and Mike Verlon. And they scored 4 goals in their first win, 7 goals in their second win, the 11 total goals in their wins. But then I think I heard you mention that their goalie play for the Blues outside of those 2 games have been lights out.
Oh, he has been lights out. After those games, I think he went in and did a little motivational speech to himself. One of those Stuart Smalley, like, I'm good enough, I'm great enough, and gosh darn it, people like me. He did one of those, and he said, I can do this. I am better than this. And since that motivational speech where he was talking to himself in the mirror, he came out, and he has been absolutely lights out. And last night, the Blues get a 2-1 victory, and he stepped up and got 38 shots that he saved. You know what? I apologize on my notes here. I forgot to write down the goalie's name. I should know this because we're on a sports radio show, but, we talk that hockey. I believe his name is Bennington, if I remember correctly. I'm stat checking that right now. I'd ask you, but I'm pretty sure you know it as well as I do. Is that true? Yes,
Bennington sounds about right.
Yes, Jordan Bennington. That's the
Although
man.
It does not sound like a hockey name at all.
No.
It sounds like a polo name.
Water polo, yes.
No, I'm talking about the horse polo. That's how bougie that name sounds.
Bougie. Well, Jordan Bennington is not a water polo player or a horse hockey player like you had mentioned. He is actually a real hockey player, and he is a real man. He stopped 38 shots last night, and he helps the Blues win. Blues get goals from Ryan O'Reilly, and David Perron. And that was good enough. 2-1 is the victory in this one, and they take the series lead 3-2, and they're in the driver's seat. Blues have a chance to finish it out. They are pushing the Bruins up to that brink of elimination. So this could be the Blues series, and I'm okay. That means my kiss of death works, and it feels good to be have a superpower, Chris America. The kiss of death is my superpower, and I'm good with it.
Well, that's a good superpower to have. A bad superpower to have is the Florida Man superpower, Loudbeard. And I don't know if you mentioned it in the intro, but we are going to do a Florida Man starter kit draft later on in the show. Did you mention that to the audience yet?
I did. I
Okay.
kind of teased a few different things. One of them was that Florida Man draft. And you know what? This is going to be fun. I'm actually looking forward to this one more than I think any of our drafts in a long time.
Yeah. And, lo and behold, right on cue, Florida Man comes through with a great story for us leading up to this. Have you seen this story yet? I want to just read the headline from BuzzFeed. I promise this clickbait delivers. This horrifying Florida Man story involves boats, guns, cocaine, and hostages. Did you hear this one
All
yet,
right.
Loudbeard?
I haven't, but it sounds like a very typical Florida Man story, so I'm not surprised.
Now, one of the most popular things to do, whether you're a tourist or even a local here in Florida, is to go deep sea fishing or take a charter boat out into the open waters off the coast of Florida, right?
Heard of them. Yep. Deep sea fishing. Yep, that's the thing.
Well, this became a little bit hectic. This charter boat captain, a group hired a 36-year-old captain named Mark Bailey, takes them 60 miles off the Gulf Coast for a fishing trip. That's a long way out.
Well, when you're going deep sea, you got to go real deep.
You got to go real deep.
Real
Dang,
deep.
60 miles.
That's deep.
And then things got a little scary. One passenger, Carlo, told police that he observed Bailey snort and get high off of cocaine. That's the last thing
Ooh.
I want to see is my captain, my charter boat captain, taking a line of coke. I don't know, where do you do that? Off of the seat? Off of the little table and down and below?
No, you catch a fish, and then you do it off the side of the fish.
Oh, right off the
Yeah,
side,
that's
like a
real,
marlin.
Real Florida Man. Yeah, you pull the marlin up, and you just right there. Florida
And
Man.
you get a little irritable when you're high on cocaine, Loudbeard. And so he went up to one of the 15-year-old passengers, ripped the chain off his neck, and then threatened to shoot everyone. He pulled out a handgun, and he fired a few shots in the air. So that was going on. Then he had copious amounts of alcohol, and you're 60 miles out on a charter boat. This is like a damn scary movie, like
Horror
a B-rated
movie.
scary horror movie.
Yes, it is.
I mean, these charter boats aren't big, so it's not like you can go hide or anything.
Hide. Yeah, you're stuck with that one. All you do is sit there and you just pray and you shut up and you say, "Please, God, let me get through this. Please take us home eventually. I'm never going on the water again. I hope this guy rots in
Okay.
double hockey sticks."
So here's one of the statements from the police report. One of the passengers, Jason, wrote, and this I quote, "Felt threatened when Bailey said it wouldn't be nothing to pop a bullet in each one of us and dump our bodies over the board." Felt threatened is a bit of an understatement there, Jason.
Yeah, I would say that felt threatened was just it's a mild observation.
Felt threatened
Like,
is like, I'm going to punch you in the face.
Yeah, I'm gonna kill you, and no one's ever gonna find your bodies, and I'm gonna laugh my way home as I'm snorting cocaine. Yeah, that's Florida Man for you.
Oh, man. So I guess eventually he came down off of his high and brought everybody back. And that's got to be like an awkward 60 miles back, right? Where you're just like, he's coming down off of his high. He's just driving the boat, driving back. One, you're like, you have no idea if he's driving you back, right?
Well, yeah, you're like, okay, are we going to an island where he's gonna eat our faces off, or are we actually going back? You have no idea.
Oh, okay, I misread that. It looks like it was only until the boat was within cell service range that they were finally able to call police for help. So I mean, he had to head back at some point. And I don't know what he was planning on doing with them. But then, how do you make that phone call to where nobody can find you? And then, how do you tell police where you are? Sometimes, like, I'm on a street that I know, and I have a hard time thinking, like, okay, where am I? How do I tell cops how to get here?
I was thinking that they could probably track it. You
Maybe.
know, like your
Yeah, that's true.
GPS signal. I think it's probably easy to track that nowadays. If you can get cell phone signal where you can get a phone call out, they can pull up the GPS on your phone and figure that out pretty easily. Now, we got some tweets coming in, Chris America.
Yeah.
Your friend Jenny of Ohio, she thinks that it sounds like a Lifetime movie.
A Lifetime movie?
Yeah.
No, because there wasn't a female heroine and a kid missing in this story.
No, it was cocaine.
Yeah, it was cocaine.
Not heroin.
Yeah. For some reason, on the boat ride back, I'm picturing him coming down, and he's like, "Sorry, guys, got a little crazy there, but we'll laugh this off one day. One day, we'll all look back on this, and it'll be a great story we can all tell our kids."
Yeah. I don't know if you want to tell your kids that story. It'll keep them up at night.
So here's what he was charged with. This was it. He was charged with boating under the influence as well as resisting without violence before taken to jail. Really? Not kidnapping, not threatening somebody with a firearm, not shooting a firearm at people, just good old-fashioned boating under the influence and resisting without violence.
That's terrible, man. That's terrible.
Is it because he's like in international waters that they couldn't do anything else? Like, how does that work?
And do you think this is the first time this has happened?
No. Maybe the first time to that extreme, but no, this is not the first time he snorted cocaine and got drunk and belligerent to his guests. Or
I'm thinking that this is a pattern. It's probably escalated over time, and it finally got to the point where he's like shooting guns and making people feel like they were going to die. But typically, I bet he's probably not a lot of repeat customers with this dude.
Yeah. A disappointing end to this story is a voicemail left for Bailey was not immediately returned. I really want to hear this guy's story.
Yeah, there's always two sides to every story, Chris America. Two
So,
sides
Loudbeard,
to every story.
We mentioned on the other side of the break there's going to be a starter kit. This guy has pretty good starter kit right here. Right here in the headline. Boats, guns, cocaine, and hostages. What better way to start off your Florida Man story with those four things? Let's see what Loudbeard and I decide to put in our starter kit on the other side of the break.
Hey, Kawhi, what are you laughing at, man? This isn't funny. Fantasy sports reimagined. FanDuel, that's what I'm talking about. It is more than just fantasy sports. It's the best way to watch the games, win real cash, and bring the action right to your living room. Just choose a contest, make your picks, watch, and win. And if you go to FanDuel.com/STR today, you can get a $5 deposit bonus. Once again, that's FanDuel.com/STR. Come on, man. This is not a laughing matter. If you've been listening to Scout Team Radio for a long time, you know that myself, Loudbeard, has placed a bet or two in his day. That's right, I've lost the beard bet, I lost the romper bet, but one place I don't like losing is when I bet money, and I can easily do that at MyBookie. That's right, you can go to mybookie.ag, use promo code 12OZSports, and get a 100% deposit bonus up to $1,000. Hey, guess what? That is a lot of money. Do it.
When I'm working hard, I build up a thirst for sports. That's when I grab a cold 12-ounce sports radio. Ah, 12-ounce sports radio. Quench your sports thirst.
Hey everybody, it's your favorite Patriot, Chris America, and I want you to listen every single weekday, Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. to 7 a.m., and on replays from 11 a.m. to noon of Scout Team Sports. Listen, George Washington did not cross over the ocean blue in 1492 to defeat the Nazis, so you can listen to the same tired national clickbait sports stories. So once again, tune in to us every single morning, 6 a.m. to 7 a.m., and then we replay from 11 to noon. I will see you there, and God bless America.
Welcome back, and thank you all for listening in. Once again, you are listening to Scout Team Radio. We bring it to you hot and live each and every morning, Monday through Friday, 6 a.m., right here on 12 Ounce Sports Radio. We also simulcast on the Full Press Radio Network, and we are part of the Barn Burner Podcast Network. We're all over the place. That's right. And if you don't catch us live, you can always go back and listen to our podcast. You can search Apple Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts. Just search us up at Scout Team Radio. And I had to come back after this break and bring some energy because Chris America called me out, said I did not have enough energy. And if you want to call me out, you can also do that on Twitter at Scout Team Radio. You can say, what's that one guy talking, that loud beard? Why has he got no energy? And I'll tell you, it's because of the Natter Days. They're so beautiful and delicious. It's very, very, deceiving how delicious they are. And then you throw back 3 or 4 of them, boom, all of a sudden, 5, 6 in the morning the next morning, this is what you get. That's right. This is what you get. But I don't care. I don't feel bad. So, Chris America, I know you're out there somewhere. I almost took a nap on the commercial break. I thought about it. I was really seriously considering it. But I said, I got to come back with some more energy because you'll call me out if I don't. You're going to call me out. I don't want to be called out again.
I know.
Am I getting better?
I'm used to you being so high energetic and everything, and then like this morning you're just like, "Hey guys, it's me, Loudbeard. Here's my intro." Yeah,
It was
and I was like,
bad,
man, those Natter Days really got him. And then I was thinking about this on the break about that
intro.
I was thinking about that on the break about that Florida man story about how he drank copious amounts of alcohol and then snorted cocaine. I thought about how you were kind of down. I was like, well, what if this guy was trying to be responsible, right? He pounded like 20 beers, probably Natter Days, maybe some Schlitz malt liquor. He's pounding them down, and he's like, man, I'm really tired. I can't focus on this boating. I'm taking these people out. And he's like, I know what'll pick me up. Good old cocaine. So let me take a little bump of that, and then he's feeling great. The old booger sugar.
Man, this story really hit home for you, huh? You're really
I was just kind of thinking, trying to give the guy a little bit of credit.
Well, we do feel for the Florida man because officially we are the Florida man. I think everybody out there is a Florida man, at least a little bit at heart. So with that being said, Chris Amir, I think it's time, man. I think it's time to break out our Friday fantasy draft and break out our Florida man starter kit. Are you ready for this?
I'm ready for it.
All
Who
right.
has the first
you
pick?
pick one? I don't know.
Right.
Is it me?
Or
you?
It
we'll
really
go with
doesn't
you.
matter to me.
You can take the first one.
Okay. Well, I think one of the most synonymous items for Florida man, when you say this item, you automatically think Florida man. It was one of the biggest stories, and it was so crazy that it happened during one of the biggest crazes in our entertainment history, which was the zombie craze, that little zombie phase we went through about 5 or 6 years ago. And that, of course, is bath salts. No Florida man starter kit is complete without bath salts. You need some bath salts to get yourself high on because, bath salts are legal. You can get them at any CVS, Bed Bath & Beyond, Walmart, wherever you want at a very affordable price. And you can get the kind of high like you've never had before. And it's all perfectly legal. Like, you can't get arrested for being in possession of bath salts. No cops are going to come and take away your freedom from you because you're trying to, get a good high going. So, bath salts, for sure. Just stay inside. Just stay inside away from homeless people so you don't eat their faces off while you're on bath salts. That's one of the one of the negative side effects of bath salts, Loudbeard. Otherwise, it's free game. Go ahead, do your bath salts.
Well, that's a quality first pick, and I had that on my list. We're probably going to have quite differing lists, but
Yes,
that
but I
one,
think that was
bath
the one.
salt, that was the one. That's
It's a
the,
universal thing you need.
Yep. All right, so for my number one pick, I'm going with the machete.
Oh,
I like
okay.
this. This is a very good weapon for the Florida Man, and it brings me back to one of my favorite Florida Man headlines of all time, and it is Florida Man threatens to kill a man with kindness. ... He names his machete kindness.
Very nice.
There we go.
Machete.
Yeah, that's my
named
pick.
Kindness.
Machete.
I mean, if you're
Yes.
going to go crazy with a machete, you have to give it a name.
And kindness is a very, very
Yes.
sweet and gentle name for a
Yes.
machete that you're threatening to kill people with.
You know, that just shows you that Florida Man is a very sensitive, not heartless, but a hopeless romantic who loves the finer things in life. He probably loves poetry, and naming your machete kindness before you kill people. Oh, I mean, how poetic is that? Killing people
Yeah.
with kindness.
You know, I think that could be added to a lyric in the Alanis Morissette song.
Probably.
Isn't it ironic?
Don't you think?
I do.
It's time for my pick number 2.
It is time for your pick, number
All right.
2.
I thought about making this my number 1 pick, but I rolled the dice and I figured you'd have bath salts on your list and not this other item that I'm about to say. So I was like, let me roll the dice and grab bath salts up first because I feel like that was going to be your first pick, correct? If I didn't take it, or would you
I really
still
like
have gone
machete.
with? You really
I
would
don't
have gone
know.
with your machete. Okay.
I have
My
no idea.
second pick. Every Florida man needs this. It is also synonymous to Florida man, and that of course is jorts, and not just any jorts. I'm talking cutoff jorts. I'm talking.
That's a really good pick.
I'm talking.
Damn it.
You went and you grabbed a pair of jeans at a yard sale. You probably stole them, and then you got your pair of scissors that are very dull and very rusty, and you hacked up those jeans into a nice pair of cutoff jorts where the fray is just like the string and the fray is just all over the place, and they're dirty as hell, and you're wearing these jorts without a shirt. You definitely do not wear a shirt with jorts if you're a Florida man. So jorts is my number 2 pick.
Yeah, man, I feel like you're bringing the heat with this one, Chris America. I don't know what to say to that other than I'm going to have to move on to my second pick. And for my second pick, man, this is a tough one, but I think I'm going to have to do it. This is synonymous with any Florida man or headline, any Florida man, anything, and that would be the alligator. I feel like there just needs to be an alligator
Yes.
involved with every Florida man story. So I'm going to go with the alligator. Just one of many headlines that I saw involving the alligator. Let's see. Florida woman takes maternity photo with alligator, shotgun, and Bud Light. See, there's several things that could have been in this one, but I'm going number 1, alligator.
Alligator is a good one. Just last week in Clearwater, there was a story about a 12-foot alligator or 11 to 12-foot alligator broke into a woman's home to get into the kitchen. A lot of people said that it was probably fake, but she's like, no, this is for real. I don't think you don't have to fake alligator in your kitchen in Florida. Maybe in other states, but not here in Florida.
No, absolutely not, man. Alligators, they show up. They could come out of your toilet. That's a scary thought. You never know.
All
They
right,
could
so
come
you
from
went with
any which
alligator.
direction.
I wrote down reptiles at first, and I was like, no, I think I got to be more specific than that. I can't just take all reptiles. I mean, you can, because every Florida man starter kit needs a reptile, but I think we need to be more specific as to which reptiles is best. You went with alligator. I do like that one. That's a solid pick. I'm going to go with one that happened here locally. It was a story that went on for a week or two, and that, of course, is a pet king cobra. Every Florida man, you can't just have any snake. You can't just have like a python, which pythons are fine, but anybody can have a python. Ohio man can have a python. California man can have a python. No, to be a true Florida man, you need something exotic and super poisonous and like nobody should have, and that is a cobra snake. And here in Apopka, which is, what is that, like southwest of Orlando or northwest of Orlando, is a city called Apopka. And Apopka is one of those towns where when you're inside the town, it's very much just like any other suburb of a big city. You got your Walmarts, your stores, lots of traffic. But then you go on the outskirts of Apopka, and it's basically you're in the deep south country. Like, it's just country back road woods and lots of like farms and stuff like that. And so this guy lost his king cobra out in the woods. It snuck out of his house, and there was like a whole 2 to 3 week search for this thing, and it was pretty crazy. King cobra on the loose in Orlando.
All right, that was a crazy story, but I think I'm gonna go a little bit bigger than that, Chris America. I gotta top a king cobra, and how do I go bigger than a king cobra? And that would be the next best thing past alligator. The one thing that is in, maybe I'm gonna give it as high as 20% of all Florida Man stories. And you know what that is, Chris America?
What's that?
It's the Walmart. That's right. Walmart is a key ingredient to most Florida Man stories. I caught one, and this is just one of many, but Florida Man caught exposing himself in pillow section at Walmart.
Oh, of course.
There's always a story of Walmart. And I'm letting you know right now, that was my golden ticket right there. Walmart, that's it right there. I hope you're shaking now, because you know I'm
I am a
coming
little
back.
shaken. I'm shaken, not stirred. And I
Coming
like
back strong.
I like the thought out process of Florida Man exposing himself in the pillow section, because he's sitting here thinking, right? All right, I'm gonna go down. How do I pick up a lady? I know what ladies like. They like to see my junk. So I'm gonna go to Walmart and pick up ladies. And then he's thinking, okay, well, what if I show my junk and she's like, oh, I'm ready to go right now. I'm ready to jump on that. He's like, I need comfort for my lady or for myself if I'm gonna get down to business at the Walmart. So let me go over to the bedding aisle and the pillow section, so that way when she's ready to go, I just throw a bunch of pillows on the ground and we're both comfortable and it'll be romantic. Like I said, he's a hopeless romantic. He wants comfort and style, and Walmart section, pillow aisle. He could have picked any aisle. He could have picked like the hunting aisle or the car battery aisle, but so he could throw it in the ocean later. But he picked the pillow aisle because he wants his ladies to be comfortable. And I like that about Florida Man.
Well, like you said, he's a hopeless romantic, and
He is a hopeless
every
romantic,
Florida
that
man,
Florida man.
is a hopeless romantic. Yep.
All right, Loudbeard. I'm gonna go with alcohol, but I guess I got to be more specific. I'll go with the most trashiest beer I can think of, and that's Schlitz malt liquor. Good old Schlitz.
All right, Schlitz. I thought you were gonna go with the Natter Day.
Well, I could have thought of like any cheap beer, but I feel like Florida Man is very variety on his cheap beer. It could be Bud Light, could be Natter Day, could be Ice House, any of those trashy cheap beers. But I went with Schlitz. I just feel like Schlitz malt liquor is just more funny than all of those.
You know what? Just to combat you, I'm going Natter
That was my-
Days. Just
There
I'm
you go.
going Natter Days.
You're going
There
Natter
we go.
Days.
Going Natter Days. I
Okay.
I didn't have Natter Days prepared, but sometimes you have to go fight hand and foot and tooth and nail and anything that comes up, and I'm breaking out the Natter Days. I think I'm going to get some votes on these Natter Days.
There you go. We got one more pick, right?
Yeah, we got one more.
Okay. I'm going to go with the good old red, white, and blue, the Union Jack, the good old American flag. Most of these stories, one that comes to my mind first is, what was it, like a year or two ago? There was a hurricane in the Carolinas, and wouldn't you know it, Florida Man says, man, if this hurricane ain't going to come to me, I'm going to go to it. And so he drove up there, and he's out there in his jorts with no shirt and his American flag, waving it proud at the hurricane, letting that hurricane and the world know that Florida Man will bow down to nobody, and no hurricane's going to run away from him. He's going to show that guy.
Well, Chris America, you've successfully said my next item when you were describing yours. You said Florida Man is sitting there with jorts, no shirt, and an American flag.
Uh-huh.
And I'm selecting, with my final pick in the Florida Man draft, I'm selecting no shirt as my next
No shirt.
selection.
There you go.
No shirt.
No shirt.
Yes. There was one headline that said, "Drunk, shirtless Florida man harasses people in park." I felt like that was actually the same headline, and it pops up about once every 2 to 3 weeks. There's always a drunk, shirtless Florida man harassing somebody somewhere. So the basic of all basics of the Florida Man starter kit is no shirt.
If you Google Florida man, and then you open up another tab, and then you Google shirtless Florida man, and you just compare all of the findings, they're going to be all the same story. It's too hot in Florida to be wearing shirts. And Florida man ain't got no time for shirts anyways. He's a man on the go. He only has time to throw on some jorts, maybe some sandals, and that's it. He's ready to go.
I'm telling you, we got some quality items on our list here.
We
Chris
do.
Merrick.
This is gonna be a tough pick. We're gonna throw this. I think we need to make this a week-long vote, maybe, or at least through the weekend. It can't be a one-day thing.
I'm with it. We could do it for as long as you want. People love the Florida Man.
Some of the
We love
items
them.
I left off, Loudbeard, was a gun. Every Florida man needs a gun.
Yeah, and you could have done shotgun. You could have done
with
pistol.
or without a concealed carry permit license. But if he does have a concealed carry permit license, he's sure to let everybody know that he has that damn thing.
That's true. One of the ones I left off would be the World War II grenade.
Oh,
So-
the one where he tried to get into the to the airport.
There's that
yeah.
one, and there was another story where I saw a Florida man finds World War II grenade, drives it to a Taco Bell. That was a headline. Just in general, the World War II grenade, for some reason we find a lot of them in Florida, and Florida man does not know what to do with the World War II grenade. So that is his key essential element of being a Florida man.
Yes, and the crazy thing about the Florida man, Florida woman, is even if you're not from Florida, if you live here long enough, eventually Florida will get you. And one of my favorite stories of somebody who's not from Florida, a well-respected woman, she went to college, was in the Navy, was a commander of the U.S. Navy. She becomes an astronaut and goes into space. Right? Like, just a good, sensible person, born in Washington, D.C., and that's a life a lot of us want to live, right?
Oh, absolutely, man. Yeah,
Well-
keep going. This sounds like a happy ending.
Well, little do you know, NASA, at least the shuttle program, is in Florida, and you stay here long enough, and eventually you become Florida woman. And this person, Lisa Nowak, fell in love with a man. The Florida in her, like I said, hopeless romantic. Us Florida people are. Got into her when there was a love triangle involved, and she drove all the way from Houston to Florida wearing a diaper so she wouldn't have to make any stops other than to get gas to go tell and profess her love and to go scare off the other woman, and ends up getting arrested inside I believe it was at the Orlando airport, for trying to kidnap said woman to let her know to stay away from her man.
Classic.
It's one of the
So,
classic
maybe-
Florida woman stories.
Yeah. Would a adult diaper be a classic Florida woman? I mean, like maybe next week we need to do the Florida woman.
Yeah,
Essential
I almost
kit?
put diaper. I almost had diaper on my list, but I was like, no, these other ones are pretty good.
Yeah, I had a couple other good ones. Pepper spray was one of the ones I had. Laxatives.
Oh,
I felt like that one was a good one. I saw a headline: Florida man learns the hard way when he stole laxatives instead of opioids.
Oh, always hate it when that happens to me.
Oh, all the time. That's a regular occurrence. So, Chris America, I kind of feel bad because all we did was talk about Florida Man the whole time. And in the beginning, before you were having your connection, or you got connection, I did tease a couple sports stories. So we could do some rapid fire for the
let's
next
do it.
3 minutes.
You know, I
All
have
right, so-
extra time. I live closer to work now, so if you have extra time, I have extra time. We can extend it past the 5:55 or 6:55.
Yeah, well, we could go a couple minutes. I don't like going to past 7 just because of
Yeah. No. 7 is
if
definitely
other things are
my cutoff,
scheduled
too.
and all that.
Yeah. No,
fun
7's
stuff.
definitely my cutoff. But go ahead.
Oh, we just got a retweet from the Florida Man bot. Good. Okay.
Nice.
So, okay, first of all, did you see when the person on the sidelines pushed Kyle Lowry in this Warriors-Raptors game? Did you see that when you were watching the game?
No, I missed that part.
Okay, but have you heard the story as it's been coming out?
You go ahead and just tell it.
No? All right. I'm going to do it. So Kyle Lowry, he kind of runs to get a loose ball, gets into the side, everybody's sitting there courtside. And when he gets up, it looks like a man reaches over from 2 seats over and gives him a little push. Kyle Lowry doesn't take too fondly of it. He looks over, and then you can see him and this man going back and forth. And Kyle Lowry took he was pretty pissed about it. Well, come to find out, this man is a minority owner in the Golden State Warriors. So he is an owner of the Golden State Warriors and pushed a player of the opposing team. So the NBA comes out and they dish out some sort of penalty for him because they said this isn't right. We consider this to be unacceptable behavior. And they fine him $500,000 and give him a 1-year ban from the NBA. He can't watch any events or participate in any of the activities. A lot of people are saying that this is not enough punishment. Chris America, what are your thoughts?
He needs to be kicked out of the league like the Clippers owner was. That is, to me, not to kind of compare the two because they're both really bad, but that is just as bad, if not worse, than what the Clippers owner did. Because you're talking about physical violence and you're in an arena on camera. Like, that's a total embarrassment to the league. So at the very least, it's as bad as what the Clippers owner did. And you're a minority owner. Yeah, peace out, buddy. We'll buy you out. Have fun. You're no longer allowed in the NBA. And that'll send a message to all these other owners, because this is what's kind of happening with sports is gone are the days where it's just one owner owning a team, because these franchises are becoming way too expensive for even a billionaire to justify purchasing, right? I mean, we're talking about $2 to $3 to $4 billion for one sports franchise. I mean, you look at what Disney paid to get Star Wars. What was it, $4 billion, right? Or was it more than that? I feel like the Star Wars franchise was more than that. But these franchises are getting too expensive for one person to come in and buy. And so now they're selling to like these groups of investors. And so you can't you're not able to be like, oh, this is just one owner for the Golden State Warriors. They have like 10. And we can't have any of these owners, minority or not, doing this kind of stuff. And I wonder how they go about making sure that this kind of guy doesn't get into the NBA, that can't just buy in. Because, I mean, Florida man can win the lottery, the Powerball at $500 million, and then buy a piece of, like, the Magic or something. And you don't want Florida man owning a piece of the Magic or the Heat.
Yeah, no, absolutely not. I was looking at this guy. Apparently, he's one of the 1,000 most wealthiest people on the planet. He is worth billions, and it just made me think, man, it doesn't matter how much money you have, you can't buy class. And this guy had no class.
None.
Absolutely not. Another story that I want to just get your thoughts on here. Eagles sign an extension with Carson Wentz worth $128 million over 4 years. Is this a good move for the Eagles?
I think it's a premature move.
Yeah,
I would have waited.
Said. Yep.
I would have waited. I don't know. He can't stay healthy. So having 4 years now, NFL contracts are more team friendly than player friendly. So even if I'm sure there's some sort of clause where if he's hurt or can't make it, he doesn't get the money. Like I know Colin Kaepernick had like a big contract and he only saw like 30 million of it after he ended up getting cut, like 30 to 50 million. So I don't know. I'd have to look at the guarantees. Was there a guarantee attached to this?
I didn't look that deep at the story.
Yeah.
You know how I
feel like a 4-year contract for a guy, like, yes, he's good. He's shown some greatness, but he can't stay healthy, man.
Now, when I saw the headline, it kind of threw me off a little bit. I'm like, man, they're putting a little too much into this dude. Braves signed Dallas Keuchel. He's one of those last free agents of Major League Baseball that had a big-time name. So he gets signed by the Braves, and crazy that a big-time free agent gets into like the second month of the season before he finally gets signed by a team. But I know last night on Craft Brew Sports, Scott Kaiser, big-time Braves fan, was super excited to hear that the Braves picked up Keuchel.
Yeah, they're 2 games back from the Phillies right now, so that's something that'll energize their roster, and it's almost as huge as getting one of those like mid-season trades. except for you
Oh,
didn't have
yeah,
to give
big-
up anything to get this guy.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's like a 1-year, $13 million deal. It's like not even that much. I mean, it's perfect for both sides. Last story before we call it a weekend, Chris America. OBJ back in the story. He went back in the headlines. He wants to keep the Browns front of mind for everybody, and he comes out and he says he's completely impressed with Baker Mayfield's arm strength. His actual quote was, "I have to get adjusted to his speed."
I like that. No, man,
Do
things
you
are
think
clicking
that's a
right now.
compliment for Baker?
Yes,
Okay.
because it means like I think it might even be a diss to Eli Manning. It might be like a backhanded like, oh, I gotta adjust myself to this guy because I'm so used to these like lame duck footballs.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking when I saw that. I'm like, man, that's kind of a backhanded compliment. I mean, one, it's a compliment for Baker, but backhanded towards Eli. Now, the other part, and I find myself falling into this trap, I keep getting more and more excited about the Browns. Do you think I'm getting overinflated, or am I sitting here thinking OBJ having a man like Baker Mayfield with the arm strength to get the ball down the field and OBJ being able to catch anything and just this could be a match made in heaven. This could be like when Randy Moss went to play with Tom Brady in the Patriots in 2007. Am I going a little overboard, Chris America?
You had me until you went with the Tom Brady and Randy Moss connection comparison. You had me going. But before we go, Loudbeard, I do think you have reasons to be excited for the Cleveland Browns. I hope to see it just because it'll be a fun story to watch a team that's been perennial bad finally become good. Last bit before we head out the door, Loudbeard, Raptors, Warriors, are we going to have a tied series on Monday morning, or are we going to be talking gentleman's sweep?
I'm going to say with my head, I'm voting a tied series. I think that's the smart money because Golden State should bounce back. But with my heart and my gut, I'm going Raptors. That's right, Chris America. Toronto. Yes.
Is Clay playing? Or is it
yes.
one of those like game time decisions?
No, Clay's in. Kevin Durant's out. Game 4.
Okay. I'll pick the Warriors tied series then. I think they have to bounce back. They know they have to win. This is a championship caliber team. And this was the championship caliber show.
It was until it ended.
Have a great weekend, guys. We'll see you on the flip side. If you missed any of our shows, go to Spotify, Podbean, Stitcher, Apple Podcast, or ScoutTeamRadio.com. Listen back to all our week's shows. Have a good weekend. Enjoy your Natter days.